Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another tournament report. I was at a tournament the day before yesterday, on the 28th of December, in Hallstahammar, Sweden. It was a one-day tournament, 3 games, and 20 players, and a lot of fun. So I will go through my 3 games and tell you how they went and my thoughts about them. Something like that. So, to start off, my army list. We can see it here as it is deployed. We have a Varkolak here up in the corner. It's a Vampire Covenant army, independent, I guess. There are no vampire characters in it, so I didn't even have to bother to choose anything like that. But a Varkolak up here, some Dire Woves, 10 Spectral Hunters, 40 Ghouls, a unit of 2 Great Bats, a unit of zombies, my bunker with a Cadaver Wagon, and 2 Necromancers in it. I take the characters at the end. 3 Vampire Spawn and 34 Barrow Guard with full command, hand weapon and shield, and black standard of Zagvozd. And 2 Bat Swarms. These are some extra zombies that I never actually used. Oh no, I didn't. I never actually made another unit with them, but whatever. So the characters. We have a Barrow King BSB in this unit. He's got the Flaming Standard, and he's got paired weapons and Destiny's Call and Crystal Ball. We have the General over here, the red Necromancer. He's a master of Alchemy. He's got Necromantic staff and magical Heirloom. So he has a lot of spells. And over here we have another Necromancer, a master of Evocation with the Talisman of the Void and a blinding scroll. So a lot of magic and quite a lot of anti-magic. My opponent's army is Vermin Swarm. He's got a Rat Swarm unit over here and a unit of Rat at Arms with spears, and I think these were the ones that had the banner that made them fight in a lot of ranks. Yeah, that's right. A rotary gun, a unit of Plague Brotherhood with a pendulum, and a BSB, standard build with Putrid Protection, Plague Flail, all of that nasty stuff. A Vermin Demon in the back, another Rat Arm unit with the banner that makes them have extra combat rest from ranks. More Rat Swarms, a unit of Thunder Hulks, 6 of them with Meat Grinder, and a Dreadmill. So going into this game, the pairings were up in advance, so I could prepare a little, and my thoughts were that either 2 of my big units could handle either 2 of his Pendulum or Vermin Hulk unit. The Pendulum they could handle with a lot of magic support, that should be said. The Barrow Knights I figured could kill the Pendulum with Little Strike and rerolls the wound. And of course, if he saves very well on his Aegis saves, I won't be able to kill it, but that's a risk. And the Ghouls I figured could pretty quickly remove all of the Brotherhood, the brothers basically, especially if I got the charge and was striking first. I would get a round of a lot of attacks, and then following rounds I would have rerolls to hit. But if I went for that tactic, I would still have to deal with the Rat Arm units. Oh yeah, those each had a Meat Grinder in them as well, so they were not to be taken lightly actually. So he dropped first to go first. The deployment is Frontline Clash, and the objective is hold the ground here in the center. And since he dropped first, I elected to try and ignore his Vermin Hulks make them not fight, basically. So we'll see how it goes. He moved forward and immediately decided that the Vermin Hulks would have none of that, so they moved this way. He cast a lot of spells on this unit, buff spells. I wasn't going to charge this turn, so I just let it pass. Shooting, he killed 2 wolves with the rotary gun. That's about it. Oh, right. I also deployed at this because I could ignore the Dreadmill, which was a nightmare for the Spectral Hunters. Or actually, the Spectral Hunters could probably have handled it when I think back. But yeah, it was a nightmare for the Vampire Spawn and the Varkolak at least. So he moved forward. Nothing much else happened. What I did was I charged the wolves through the woods into the rat swarms and the vampire spawn. This is at the end of my turn. You can see I moved up the whole army, and the vampire spawn overran into the rotary gun, which I felt very good about being able to get rid of that pretty fast. I walked up with these guys, the Barrow Guard, and I cast the boosted. I had a very good magic phase. I got a corruption of tin off on the Vermin Hulks, and the boosted Word of Iron on the Barrow Guard, and also alchemical flames on the Brotherhood. So I had a strong magic phase. He charged quite a lot. The ratted arms into the wolves. Unfortunately, here the Vermin Demon could just see the vampire spawn across the hill, so he charged into the flank, and the Brotherhood plowed into the Barrow Guard. Otherwise, he advanced quite a lot. Yes. Yeah, going forward. Let's see. Yeah, this is after charges, just. So after combat, the Vermin Demon killed a lot of spawn, but I got to strike at least with some of them, 2 of them I think. Yeah, he did 5 wounds. So I got to strike and kill the rotary gun. In the end, probably not a good trade. But the rotary gun was really threatening the Spectral Hunters, so I wanted it dead. This combat, I directed 16 attacks to the Pendulum. I hit on 3 up with the Black Stand of Zagvozd, and I wounded on 5s with rerolls to wound. I caused 5 wounds total, I think 3 little strikes, and he failed his armor saves quite a lot. And he saved 3 of them on Aegis, so an okay output, I'd say. He got quite a lot of spells on himself, no lay enemy, and also a breath weapon. But I had my 6-up fortitude and my 2-up armor, so he didn't do that much damage, really. This is the end of my turn. I think... No, this must be the end of that combat. No, that can't be. Anyway, this must be the end of my turn. My magic phase wasn't that good. I moved up a little bit, no charges. I couldn't be that aggressive with the ghouls because I didn't want to get flank charged. And I moved up the bats so that he couldn't charge with the Thunder Hulks, basically. But in the end, it was probably unnecessary. I don't know. Yeah, magic. I cast the Silver Spike on the Vermin Demon. He let it go. I had hoped he would dispel it. It's that kind of spell that you don't really want to risk, but he took it on the Aegis save, I wounded, but he took it on the 80 save, and so nothing happened. I still had a pretty decent magic phase. I got Glory of Gold off on the Ghouls, and Flammable on this unit and the Brotherhood. So if these guys decided to charge, I would be able to reroll 2 wounds. What I should have done is I should just have ignored the spike and raised some more Barrow Guard. I think I got 1 raised through. Or no, this is at the end. He didn't kill that much in the first turn, so I didn't felt it that necessary. I think 4 guys have been removed here, 5 guys. So that's it's still a full race, but I didn't focus on it, and I should have focused on getting those extra 5 guys back. So that was a mistake, as we will see. So in the combat, we continued striking at each other. I've again directed all of my attacks, all of 16 attacks on the Pendulum, but this time I didn't cause a single wound. I wounded him, but he saved everything on Aegis. I think I caused two wounds, so really poor rolling. And my unit suffered for it. He charged in with the Dreadmill and the Rat Swarms. These Ratted Arms charged into the Ghouls, and the Vermin Demon into the Bats. Yeah, this is still the same. This is before combat, after combat. So the Ghouls had an extra armor penetration, so they killed a few rats and they killed a few back. The Vermin Demon killed the bats, and by now I decided that I just needed to cause wounds to not crumble, so I just directed all my attacks at the Plague Brotherhood. Dreadmill dropped out of combat, so yeah, something like that. And this is quite a while later. I think I skipped my turn here, but I backed away here a little bit, and he charged with the other unit of Ratted Arms, and the Dreadmill charged anew into the rear this time. This is starting to look bad, but he's got very few Brotherhood left. I was a bit unlucky here. My Barrow King, I think he killed 2 monks or brothers every turn, which is fair, I guess. Had I killed 1 more in this turn with him, I would have been able to direct attacks at his BSB in this turn, which would have been nice. But I did annihilate the unit, but he did almost the same. There's 2 Barrow Guard left. And the Ghouls are steadily decreasing. I raised up the rank, but he killed it again. Only the Barrow King left with 3 health points. The Spectral Hunters charged in the flank here, but they crumbled. And the Ghouls died. So yeah, that was the last picture. So the last thing that happened in the game was this combat continued. I had 3 health points left, a Dreadmill in the rear, a Pendulum in the front, everything else in the unit is dead, and the Rat Swarms in the flank. I realize now that I did multiple wounds against the swarms, so I directed all 4 attacks at them, did 8 wounds, killed the unit. Nice. If I could survive the onslaught, I would win the combat, which would be awesome. But the lightning from the Dreadmill killed me. I couldn't save everything on the 4-up Aegis. We didn't play the last turn of the game, but what would probably have happened is that I would have reformed my zombies to face the other way and just tanked him for the last turns. We could have maybe gotten the unit, killed maybe the Cadaver Wagon, but we didn't have time and we didn't bother. I managed to snag the objective. I should have mentioned that, but I moved up around it pretty early, and his scoring units were up here. So I had 3 around it for a long time, and then when my unit died, his did 2, so I got 3 tokens the first 3 tokens, and then I got the objective. So the game ended in a 15-5 on kills, and then the scenario made it an 8-12. So 8 points for me. The second game was against Dwarvenholz, a familiar army. In my first tournament report at the Gates of Westridge, I faced this army too. Then with my Oaks and Goblins. He's a great, a really nice player. Always enjoy playing against him. But he's a bit unfortunate in his matchups. Oaks and Goblins was a tough matchup for him, and this is so too. And what's really strange is that the 2 games we played the exact same deployment type and scenario, and that is also both of those are pretty unfavorable for him. So it's refuse flank and capture the flags, and he has a lot of small scoring units, so it's a really good scenario for me. Anyway, his army. He has 4 units of greybeards with hand weapon and shielding thrown weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some marksmen. A big unit of seekers with a demon seeker who kills monsters. 2 units of 2 copters and a bomber. 6 hold guardians and an organ gun, a cannon, and a general engineer. So this was a great matchup for me. I decided to push up. He dropped first to go first, and I dropped the main of my army here to just charge and bash that flank. That way I could probably avoid the hold guardians. And the Varkolak could have a field day with these 2 units. He should be able to handle those pretty well. The copters I didn't really know what to do with, but yeah, we'll see. So he went first, moved up around the Varkolak a little bit, moved up here. Shooting killed quite a lot of Barrow Guard. I think maybe 9 or 10. 9. But nothing too significant. My turn, I moved up. I had a killer magic phase. I raised up all of the Barrow Guard. And I got a lot of extra zombies too. The Varkolak charged in here and killed 4 dwarves. I cast Hasten the Hour, the boosted version, on the Seeker block. Did 1 wound to the Demon Seeker, killed the champion and 1 extra guy. And I shuffled around a bit here on the right flank. So I think I'll go through this pretty quickly. The right flank turned into quite a cat and mouse game with the Spectral Hunters just dancing around trying to get a good charge on the copters, but they never could. He fired at them and slowly killed them down. So you'll see that happening as I focus on this left flank instead. So in his turn he charged in here with the other Greybeard unit, and you can see the result here. I killed some more dwarves. He did a wound. I won combat. He stood, and I sucked his blood to regain that wound, that health point. I seem to have missed a few pictures. So in my turn, I charged the ghouls into his marksman. He decided to flee. I needed an 8 on dice, and I had the reroll from the hill, so he didn't want to take that risk. And instead I redirected into these greybeards to just help out in that combat. I moved up the Barrow Guard straight into his face, followed with the zombies, and continued to dance around here, keeping the vampire spawn in cover from the cannons and such. The combat here went well. I won, and both of his units broke. I choose that this unit would run up and the other this way. Varkolak caught them. The Ghouls didn't catch these guys. So yeah, here you can see how I moved up. In his turn, let's see here, those 3 dwarves rallied, annoyingly. And he charged in with this unit. Let's see here. Yeah, one other thing to notice here is I had another good magic phase. I cast Touch of the Reaper on the engineer, did 1 wound, and then I cast Haste and Hour on him too and killed him. And I also got some. I think I got Corruption of Tin off on the Hold Guardians. So I got Flammable on the Dwarves, on the Seekers. So he charged in. We danced around the whole field. In this combat here, he killed a lot of Barrow Guard with his Demon Seeker. He had 7 attacks and he did 7 wounds. So that's pretty good. But I hit back and only needed a single wound to kill him, and he died. And I killed a few Seekers as well. So yeah, that's this. He halved my unit basically, and I killed a few of his. In my turn, I raised a lot of them back. I charged in here, killed a single dwarf, and they didn't flee. So that was annoying. But in the end, it didn't matter. Yeah, I killed the Seekers. And we danced around more. The Ghouls killed both War Machines. These guys charged the dwarf unit of Greybeards, killed them. They fled. I didn't actually get them in the end. They rallied, and I forgot about them, so I didn't get the points. Here he started bombarding and shooting at the Spectral Hunters, and the Ghouls killed the Marksman. And yeah, I cleaned up this flank, and I moved the Necromancers out last turn to try and kill something to get some more points, but I didn't. But he killed a few things on my right flank. I killed most of his army, and I got the objective. So it was an 18-2 win for me. The final game. This was also against a player I played in a recent tournament in the championship. Oscar. He used Beast Herds then. Now he's using Osklanders. So that's really awesome. I think it's the first time I'm playing against them. His army had a unit of horsemen here, a unit of wargs, quite a nasty unit, vanguard, fast and strikes quite hard. Big unit of barbarians with a giant in them, tribal war spear, and the general on a Vordaeus with the weapon that allows him to make 2 crush attacks. Some dogs, a big brother giant. No, that was a big brother giant. This is a Jotun. So an ice giant. More dogs, a Wasteland Behemoth BSB, chief on it, and some archers with 2 wizards in it, both masters, 1 shamanism, 1 witchcraft, and I used the crystal ball on the shamanism guy. So this is my army, and over here on the right flank I had the Varkolak and the Vampire Spawn. I dropped to go first. The scenario was breakthrough, deployment was counter thrust, so yeah, we dropped a few units and then I dropped everything to go first. In the end I think that was a mistake. I had some pretty sensitive matchups that I wanted to get, but I wanted to try it. I don't do that very often. So I moved the Vampire Spawn up to this unit, this hill, the Varkolak into the forest. Moved up. I wanted the Ghouls fighting the Vargs and the Barrow Guard fighting this unit. So I had to make sure that I got those matchups. This is a terrible matchup, and that is a decent matchup, but the Ghouls they couldn't handle both at least, and preferably not those even alone. So yeah, that's what it looks like. He took it pretty smoothly. Didn't play that aggressively. What he did though, this is, I think I missed taking a picture in his turn. So he moved the Jotun up to around here. Yeah, and that's about it really. They shuffled around a bit. My Vampire Spawn failed their frenzy test and charged into the Jotun. In the end, I think I would have done that anyway. The Jotun is resilience 7, so almost unkillable. But he only has 3 attacks, so I could probably tie him up quite a while with the Vampire Spawn. I moved around a bit. I marched through the ruins, so a few of them died. And I did a big mistake here. I placed the bats here. Should have just shuffled them a little bit more to the right, because you can see the wolves here. And they charged, as did the wolves here, into the Vampire Spawn. In the combat, I cast the touch Whispers of the Whale on the Jotun, but I didn't do. I did think I did 1 wound to him, something like that. So in his second turn, he charged a lot, the Vargs and the Barbarian Horsemen into the Ghouls. His totemic summon that he had created in the first turn into the bats, and he marched up with his ambushing unit by the chief of ambushing unit of Huskarls. So those are pretty good barbarians, really scary. In the combat here was really funny. I'll see if I. No, that's a bad picture to describe that. So this combat, the wolves here didn't kill the bats, but I stood 1 turn. This combat, the wolves had 2 attacks each, strength 4, because he used the release the hounds. They did nothing against the Vampire Spawn. They just flanked. The Jotun also did nothing. Both turn combat round 1 and 2, so I'm still unhurt. I did nothing in return, or maybe I did 1 wound to the Jotun. So it was a push. This combat, he rolled pretty average, I think. Killed quite a lot of ghouls. I had he killed 11 guys in total. So I lost one attack, so I had 40 attacks, including the champion. On those attacks, I did 0 poisons. Killed 1 warg, 4 health points, and 3 of the barbarian horsemen. That was pretty lucky. This was very unlucky. So not that good. This combat, the bats survived, which is the important part. So this is a while later. This combat has continued. I moved the zombies up here. In this combat, in the second round, I got Glory of Gold off on the Ghouls, and I killed a lot of Vargs, so they broke and ran. I annihilated the unit of Barbarian Horsemen. I elected not to pursue, because I wanted something to handle these guys. He shot them into the bats. Lucky for me, he could have tried to charge my bunker, but he needed a 9 on dice, so he didn't take that risk. He moved the wolves, killed the bats here. I think my mic died. So the wolves killed the bats and moved here. This combat continued to be a push. Let's see. Yeah, that's still the same status. I backed down with the Barrow Guard to have both these units in my front. I killed the wolves. Still couldn't do anything to the Jotun. This combat began, and yeah, he charged these units into the Barrow, and then we had two big grinds. I used a lot of magic to raise up the Ghouls and the Barrow constantly. I didn't get any buffs off at all, so I never actually used my flaming standard here. But yeah, yeah. So that's the last picture of the game. Over a course of like 4 combat rounds or something, I slowly ground down the unit. The Varkolak finally charged into the rear here. Overall, I was very lucky in this combat. And when the Varkolak charged, I won big. Both units broke, overran. The Barrow caught the Behemoth, and the Varkolak caught the unit, and the Barrow overran into his deployment zone. So I won the objective because the Ghouls had also annihilated his Huskarls. So last turn, everything just swung about, and I won the game. 18-2. I will also mention that the Spectral Hunters charged into the Jotun, which is the most stupid pillow fight ever. The Jotun finally did kill the Vampire Spawn, but Jotun versus Spectral Hunters it's just the unkillable object meets another unkillable object. The Jotun has 3 attacks, and I have 3 up AD save against him, so nothing will happen there. And I have 15 attacks, but I wound on 6s, will play me attacks, and I have to reroll successful to wound rolls because he's made of ice. So yeah, that's just a never-ending combat, and it didn't end. So that was the end of the game. You can see it. The Barrow ran, and yeah, I didn't lose that much in the end. I played a bit sloppy with my shaft units on this flank, but the dice forgave me, and I pulled home a win. His big mistake was charging the Huskarls into the Bat Swarms. I think he should have either have just stayed back and used thrown weapons, focused on the objective, or tried to charge the zombies. But a 9 on dice is pretty risky, and if we failed, it could have been bad. So yeah, that's about it. So the tournament ended with me grabbing a total of 44 battle points, which gave me a position in 4th place, 1 point below the player in 3rd place. So some of my best results ever. Really happy with that. I usually aim to get an average of 10 points per game, so that was well above that. So very happy with that. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.